All right, y'all. So if y'all notice I'm breathing a little heavy, I just had a killer workout, 45 minutes, intense. Whew, a lot of abs. Did mostly abs, I ain't gonna lie, mostly abs. And some leg extensions. And I did some traps. And that's it. So I did abs, leg extensions, and traps. 45 minutes, very intense. All right, so listen. I decided to share a video while I was exercising. Something came to me, so I just let me, put a video up real quick. Why men have to suffer. That's gonna be the title of this one. Why we must suffer. Every man has to suffer. And while I was exercising, it was just coming in my mind. If I want to have 6-pack abs, I have to, the workout's got to be intense. I got to suffer I got to endure some kind of pain to get those abs. If you want your chest, your arms, your legs, whatever, any body part that you want to develop, you have to tear the tissue for the muscle to grow. That's why after a very intense workout, you usually feel sore or you feel burnt, your muscle burned for a few days. You got to pack on that protein and go through that muscle recovery. So like with the anatomy, so is the same thing with your soul, with your spirit. In order for the spirit to grow, you have to suffer. Every man must suffer. Suffering is absolutely necessary for a man to develop into the better version of himself. Now, I gave the analogy of exercise, but why must we suffer? Why is suffering the only way? I'm gonna explain. The lower portion of your body is called the lower Egypt. The lower portion of your body is called the lower Egypt. Why? Because beneath your navel or at or around your navel, you have 3 energy centers, and those 3 energy centers are called chakras, or 3 nerve centers. And those 3 nerve centers are called, again, chakras. They're also called portals, right? And those 3 nerve centers beneath your solar plex area, they're responsible for your primitive needs, which are sex, food, procreation, protection. In other words, they're considered more like your animal nature. It's considered the lower Egypt because biblically Egypt represents bondage. Biblically, it represents bondage. The children of Israel were held bondage by Egypt, the Pharaoh. Anatomically, it's considered your lower Egypt because those 3 nerve centers keep your 4 higher or upper Egypt or your higher nerve centers in bondage. The higher nerve centers are also called chakras. The 4 all the way up to your crown, third eye, crown chakras. And these are just Sanskrit sayings, but again, they're called nerve centers. In Revelations, they're called the 7 candles, 7 spirits, right? The Bible talks about them as well in the book of Revelations. They might go by different terminology, but they speak to the same thing, right? And you have to overcome all of these nerve centers. So why suffering is important is because suffering deprives those 3 lower nerve centers. By depriving the 3 lower nerve centers, you're actually enlightening and fulfilling the 4 higher nerve centers, right? And the 4 higher nerve centers, your heart chakra, your solar plex chakra, your crown chakra, third eye chakra. Those nerve centers they pertain to your spiritual nature, to your higher self. Whereas the lower energy centers pertain to your lower self, which is, in short, your animal nature and your spirit nature. So your animal nature is beneath the pelvis, the lower body. The upper body is regards to your spiritual self, your higher self. And if you study the Jewish Kabbalah, the Kabbalist who teaches the Kabbalah speaks about this, speaks about the higher nerve centers, right? And in order for us to see, here's the thing. We're naturally, right, by our nature, we're drawn to the lower the lower portion of our body, because that's where our sex energy is. And your sexual nature is the strongest force known to man. They said the hunger drive is number one, your hunger drive, food, to eat. But depending on who you're talking to, some people will tell you their sex drive is higher than their hunger drive, right? It's crazy. It sounds crazy, but the sex drive, it rivals the hunger drive, depending on who you're talking to. Some people will kill you for sex, but they won't kill you for food. So, you know, guy, you hear about it all the time. A guy will kill a guy over sex, over a woman, but he won't kill a guy over a hamburger. Again, people do kill for food, don't get me wrong. That's why I said they rival each other. They are neck and neck. Whichever one you want to put first is up to you. But the sex drive is extremely strong. So by nature, our animal instincts, which is the drive to eat, the drive for sex, those are the two strongest drives. And those two drives, they only cater to the material, not our spiritual. I'll say that again. Those two drives are satisfying the material. Your hunger drive satisfies your stomach, literally, right? Your intestines and your digestive system. That's all for your physical. Your sex drive satisfies your gametes, right? Your sperm and your spermatogenesis, right? Which is the creation of sperm cells. It satisfies your sexual pleasures and appetites. So those are the two strongest drives. And those two drives, like I said, they pertain to the material, to the physical. They don't build your spiritual nature up at all. And for the majority of our lives, that's what most men, if not all humans, that's what most of us have been satisfying. Those two main drives. We eat food every day, from we're children to adults. And we're having sex all the time as adults. So those two drives are constantly being fed. Therefore, they're dominant. Those are the two dominant drives. And in order now for you to reprogram your CNS, which is the central nervous system, which is responsible for your parasympathetic and sympathetic nerves, which are the gastrointestinal nerve system, your whole CNS controls your body. And your nerve system, they are coded. Each nerve, right? The trillions of cells, nerves in your body are coded by the deeds and the actions that we do. In other words, we've reinforced and codified, coded hunger and sex drive into our DNA, so to speak. So those two drives dominate humanity, dominate the entire society that we're in. Look around you. Sex is everywhere, right? Every billboard, every commercial, everything is, we're overly sexualized, and food is everywhere, right? Look at all the commercials. Food, eat, sex. So we're overindulged by these things, and there's nothing wrong with them. But again, like I said, too much of anything is no good. So in order for us to break these codes or these programming in our nerves, in our central nervous system, in our parasympathetic nervous system, the only way for us to do that is to suffer. And the reason why I use the word suffering is because once you start catering to your spiritual man, that lower nature of you is going to suffer. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be very bitter. You're going to be angry because you're denying a natural appetite that you've been catering to for 20, 30, 40 years. And all of a sudden you decide to just up and stop. So you're naturally going to feel some kind of misery. You're going to feel some kind of annoyance. You're going to be agitated. Your tolerance level is going to be very low. You're going to be impatient, right? Because you are depriving yourself. You are voluntarily telling yourself no. You're bringing your body into subjection. And that is probably the hard. You're practicing discipline. You're disciplining yourself. And there's no constraint. You're not in prison with a warden or a security guard forcing you to behave or to conduct yourself a certain way. In prison, you have no choice. You're behind bars. You have to sit there and suffer that. But when you're free and your only supervisor is yourself, your only warden is yourself, the only manager is yourself, that is the most difficult discipline for you to do, because you are now autonomous. You are in control. You are governing your own actions. And most people are sheeps. They need a shepherd. And now you have to shepherd yourself. But keep in mind, for 30, 40 years, you have been feeding these two drives, sex drive and hunger drive, these two natures, Lower Egypt. And now you want to set yourself, you want to say, Pharaoh, set my people free. You want to go to the Pharaoh of your Lower Egypt and say, set my people free. Let go of my people. Pharaoh's not going to like that. The Pharaoh in your lower nature is not going to like that, because you want to set the 12 tribes of Israel free. Now, the 12 tribes of Israel, here's the interesting thing. At the very top of your cranium, in the brain, you have what's called 12 cranial nerves. I'll repeat that. You have 12 cranial nerves at the very top of your brain. So when you go to the lower Egypt of your abdomen area and you say Pharaoh, which is all the desires and the appetites that have been keeping you hostage, in bondage, right? When you go to yourself, the Pharaoh within your lower self, and say, Pharaoh, set Israel, set the 12 tribes of Israel free. What you are saying is you want to release those 12, you want to release, right? And here's what I mean by release. You want to transmute, you want to take that same hunger drive, right? Because it's a drive. You want to take that same sex drive, because it's a drive, that force, that energy, and you want to transmute it. You want to do what Jacob did when he saw the ladder, and Jacob's ladder, when he fell asleep and dreamed and saw the ladder with angels going up, ascending and descending. That ladder represents your spinal cord. Right? So what you're doing is you're saying, Pharaoh, let my people go. The people you're telling Pharaoh to let go is all your lower base energies. You want to do what the alchemists call sexual transmutation. You want to alchemize and practice alchemical practices within yourself. So you want to take those same energies that you've been using and spreading your seed wastefully, and you want to transmute, meaning you want to have the Jacob ladder experience. You want to send those energies up the ladder, up your spinal cord, and release the 12 cranial nerves, which represents the 12 tribes of Israel. You want to set your people free. Set my people free, Pharaoh. Till next time. If y'all like this video, you know what to do. Peace.